Hello, this is Warm Insight. Today we're going to talk about the geopolitical inferno, unpacking the global tremors of the Iran conflict. Leaving a like and subscribing is a huge help to us. Did you know that nearly 20% of the entire world's oil consumption passes through a single narrow waterway? That is less than 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. We are talking about the Strait of Hormuz. If this tiny choke point were to close for even a few days, the global economy wouldn't just slow down. It would paralyze. We are currently witnessing a geopolitical transformation, where the escalating conflict in Iran is serving as the seismic epicenter. This isn't just a regional skirmish. It is a fundamental rewriting of global alliances, a stress test for supply chains, and a moment that could define the next century of international relations. To understand the gravity of today, we have to look at the immediate military dimensions. Recently, a drone attack struck the UAE's Fujairah oil trading hub. Why does this matter? Fujairah is the critical artery, designed to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. By hitting this specific location, the message was clear. No bypass is safe. This kinetic action has sent shockwaves through energy markets. We are seeing the U.S. Navy preparing to escort tankers through these waters, a move that echoes the tanker war of the 1980s. Back then, the visual of massive warships flanking commercial vessels became the symbol of a world on the brink. Today, that shadow has returned. But the cost isn't just measured in barrels of oil. It's measured in human lives. The tragic crash of a KC-135 refueling plane in Iraq, which claimed 6 crew members, is a somber reminder. Military footprints expand quickly, but they leave deep scars. Historically, when major powers move to secure economic lifelines, the unforeseen costs of prolonged engagement begin to pile up. We are seeing a return to an assertive, confrontational posture that many hoped was a thing of the past. Now let's look at the grand chessboard of diplomacy. This conflict is effectively derailing the carefully orchestrated dances between Washington, Beijing, and Moscow. President Trump recently requested a delay in a crucial summit with President Xi Jinping, citing the Iran war as the primary reason. This is a massive shift. In the world of high-stakes diplomacy, trade negotiations and military exigencies are often kept in separate lanes. But when a conflict becomes this intense, those lanes merge. Paradoxically, while the drums of war beat, we see remarkably stable talks in Paris regarding farm goods. It shows a strange underlying resilience. Even as the world prepares for conflict, mutual economic self-interest keeps a tiny door for dialogue open. However, a much darker cloud is forming. There are growing concerns that Vladimir Putin may be aiding Iran. If this is substantiated, we aren't just looking at a regional war. We are looking at the solidification of a new anti-Western axis. This feels hauntingly similar to Cold War-era proxy alignments. The Russian ambassador to the UK recently called the American involvement a misadventure with no clear exit strategy. This isn't just a critique. It's a psychological tactic designed to undermine strategic credibility. When a superpower loses its aura of certainty, the rest of the world begins to hedge its bets. Let's talk about the money. Macroeconomic stability requires one thing above all else: predictability. Right now, the energy market is anything but predictable. Experts are warning that the U.S. is running out of ways to keep oil prices down. The old slogans like "drill, baby, drill" are proving insufficient against an Iran-inspired supply shock. This takes us back to the 1970s. During the 1973 oil embargo and the 1979 revolution, the world learned that energy is the ultimate geopolitical lever. When supply vanishes, inflation skyrockets, and when inflation skyrockets, political regimes fall. The decision to leave Iran's oil lifeline untouched so far shows just how terrified the global community is of a total collapse. It's a cautious, desperate calculus to avoid a systemic meltdown. On the domestic front, the optics are just as intense. Foreign policy is being used as a tool for domestic strength. By framing the Iran conflict alongside ambitions in Cuba and Venezuela, a narrative of forceful leadership is being projected. But this comes with deep ethical questions. There have been reports of using the fallen soldiers of this conflict as part of fundraising pitches. Psychologically, this is a high-risk strategy. While it can rally a base and create a rally-around-the-flag effect, it also risks desensitizing the public to the true human cost of war. History shows us that leveraging national security for political gain is a double-edged sword. It can build a legacy, or it can lead to a profound loss of public trust. The synthesis of all this is both profound and human-centric. We live in a world where everything is connected. A drone in the Middle East leads to a price hike at a gas station in Ohio, which leads to a shift in a diplomatic summit in Paris, which ultimately changes the result of an election months away. The historical echoes we hear today are not just coincidences. They are warnings. In the 1930s, the world watched as regional tensions slowly fused into a global fire. We are at a crossroads where we must decide if we will repeat those patterns or find a new way to navigate through the inferno. The insights we gain from macroeconomics and history are more than just academic. They are the tools we need to understand a world where every action has a systemic consequence. We are not just spectators. We are participants in a global drama that is unfolding in real time. The question is no longer if the world will change, but how much of the old world will be left when the smoke finally clears. The stakes have never been higher, and the margin for error has never been thinner. We must look past the headlines and understand the deep currents of power, psychology, and necessity that are driving these events. As we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to hear from you. Given the current escalation, do you think global diplomacy is strong enough to prevent a total energy collapse? Or are we destined to repeat the oil crises of the 1970s? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This was Warm Insight, and we'll see you in the next one.